All right, so today we're diving into a really fascinating story of military strategy coming out of Southeast Asia. It's all about a huge naval decision by Indonesia that, well, on the surface makes absolutely no sense. It's a move that had a lot of defense experts just scratching their heads. But as we're about to find out, hiding just beneath this really puzzling choice is a brilliant long-term strategy. Let's get into it.
So here's the mystery we're unpacking. Indonesia, this massive island nation that absolutely needs to patrol its own waters, was shopping for some serious new warships. And they got offered some of the best frigates money can buy from the biggest naval powers in the world. But they turned them all down for what looks like a much less capable ship from Turkey. And the big question is, why, right? In a time of rising tensions at sea, why would any country intentionally pick a warship that just looks weaker on paper?
To really get how weird this is, you have to understand the kind of ships Indonesia said no thanks to. We're talking about the French and Italian FREMM-class frigates. I mean, these are the powerful, proven workhorses for two of Europe's top navies. They also could have had France's newer, super high-tech Belharra-class, or Japan's stealthy, highly automated Nogami-class. You know, these ships are pretty much the gold standard for a modern frigate. Any navy on the planet would love to have them. But Indonesia, they want a different way. Okay, so to really understand why this decision looked so strange to everybody on the outside, we've got to look at the hard numbers. Let's actually put these ships side by side and see exactly why choosing a Turkish frigate was such a surprise.
This chart really tells the story. You can see right away the Turkish TCG Istanbul-class is the smallest of the bunch. Its endurance, how long it can stay at sea, which is super important for a country like Indonesia, is lower. And maybe the most important thing, look at the combat and radar systems. The European and Japanese ships, they use these advanced, battle-tested systems from companies the whole world trusts. The Turkish ship uses its own stuff, the Genesis combat system and smart-ass radar. Now, that's a huge achievement for Turkey for sure, but these systems are newer. They just don't have the same track record. On paper, it's not even close. And this, right here, gets to the absolute core of the puzzle. The Turkish frigate's abilities, they aren't some massive jump from what Indonesia can already build at home, like their own Mardudana-class ships. The size difference is tiny, and the main missile systems are basically the same. So the huge question is still hanging out there. If you're spending all this money but not getting a big upgrade in power right now, what in the world are you actually buying? And here is where the entire story just completely flips on its head. This decision was never about buying the best possible ship for today. Nope. It was a strategic bet on the future of their entire navy. It turns out, the real prize wasn't the steel hull, or the engines, or even the weapons. It was all about what's on the inside. This is the key that unlocks the whole thing. SOACO. It's an Indonesian acronym that stands for Sensor, Weapon, and Communication Systems. In the West, we'd probably call it a Combat Management System, or CMS. Think of it like the digital brain and the central nervous system of a warship. It's all the complex software and hardware that ties everything together, the radar, sonar, missiles, guns, comms, into one single fighting machine. Getting the tech to build and change this system yourself? Well, that's the holy grail for any country that wants to be a real naval power. So this put Indonesia at a classic strategic crossroads. Option 1, buy a better foreign ship for immediate power. But then you're stuck, always depending on the seller for every single upgrade, every software patch, every fix. Or option 2, get a slightly less powerful ship today, but in exchange, you get the knowledge, the full technology transfer to build, upgrade, and integrate your own advanced systems forever. Indonesia chose long-term self-reliance. So why Turkey? Well, it's because unlike a lot of Western countries that get critical parts from all over the place, Turkey has gone all in on being self-sufficient in its defense tech. They build their own combat management system, their own radar, their own electronics, and a lot of their own weapons. And because they own the rights to all that tech, they're actually free to transfer it to a partner like Indonesia. Other builders who rely on tech from different countries, they just can't make that same offer. Now, this decision, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Not at all. It's a huge piece of a much bigger national strategy for Indonesia's state-owned shipbuilder, PT PAL. See, their goal isn't just to build ships, it's to become a completely independent naval powerhouse, able to design and even export their own warships. And this deal, this is the key that unlocks that next big step. You can really see the journey PT PAL is on here. For years, they've totally mastered step 1, building these complex ship hulls. They're really good at it. But they were just stuck. They hit a technological wall. This SOACO deal with Turkey is the key that unlocks step 2,
mastering the incredibly complicated job of integrating all the combat systems. And once they can do that themselves, step 3 is right there for the taking, becoming a true, independent warship builder and maybe even an exporter on the world stage. And we know for a fact this was the exact problem they were up against. Indonesia's own domestic frigate program, a big source of national pride called Merah Putih or Red and White, had just stopped. It was dead in the water. And the reason? Well, according to people in the industry, it was because of stalled, difficult negotiations over getting that critical SOACO tech from a big European firm. This Turkish deal with a company called Havelsan just completely breaks that logjam and gets their whole national shipbuilding dream moving again. So what happens when you finally solve a massive technological problem and unlock a whole new level of capability? Well, your ambition grows. And this new confidence is already pushing Indonesia to look toward a much, much bigger naval future. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. This is a direct quote from the head of the Indonesian Navy himself, Admiral Muhammad Ali. He's not just talking about frigates for coastal patrols anymore. He's talking about ocean-going ships, big amphibious assault ships called LHDs, and he even says it, if necessary, an aircraft carrier. I mean, that is a massive signal that they're shifting from thinking like a coastal navy to a true blue water force. And this isn't just talk, by the way. This ambition is already turning into real plans. Indonesia is now actively looking at buying LHDs. These are big, powerful ships that are basically small aircraft carriers for helicopters and drones. And guess who the two main contenders are? An Italian design and, no surprise here, a Turkish design based on their own flagship. The partnership that started with frigates is already opening the door for way bigger projects. So all of this brings us right up to today, to the really crucial strategic crossroads where Indonesia now finds itself. They made this incredibly bold, clever move to secure their tech future, but that very success has created a new and really interesting dilemma for them. Which leaves us with one last big question. What should Indonesia's priority be now? Should they put all their energy into the slow, hard, complex work of truly mastering this SOACO tech, making sure they can build a whole fleet of advanced frigates all by themselves? Or should they use this new confidence and momentum to take a giant leap and go for the big, prestigious ships right away, like LHDs or even light aircraft carriers? One path builds a rock-solid foundation for the future, the other one reaches for the stars, but it might be on ground that isn't fully settled yet. That choice is going to define the future of their navy for decades.